Around the world, the call to legalize medical cannabis has been growing louder. In late 2018, Thailand legalized cannabis for medical use and research. Then South Korea legalized cannabis-based medications. This brought some relief to Dr. Jenny Huang, whose son suffers from a rare form of epilepsy.
We had no idea how it would work on him. Unlike other treatments, he showed some difference on his brain functions and cognitive functions, and that really thrilled us.
The Straits Times went to South Korea and Thailand to see how these countries deal with the issue of medical cannabis. Cannabis has over 100 chemical compounds that are unique to the plant, called cannabinoids. The most infamous of these cannabinoids is delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC. It is responsible for the psychoactive effects that the plant is famous for. Studies have shown that THC is responsible for the long-term impairment of learning, attention, and memory. It also has been shown to be addictive. Another cannabinoid that has received a certain amount of attention is cannabidiol, or CBD. Clinical studies have shown that CBD is effective in treating certain forms of epilepsy, and unlike THC, CBD does not have any psychoactive effects.
For the first time, the FDA has approved a drug derived from the marijuana plant.
In June 2018, the US Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, approved the oral solution Epidiolex to treat two rare forms of epilepsy, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome. The active ingredient in Epidiolex is CBD. The following year, Epidiolex was approved for use in South Korea by the South Korean Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. To get approval to use the drug, South Koreans will have to seek permission from the ministry. They will have to submit their medical records, prescription, and a doctor's note saying that there is no other drug that is available in South Korea to treat their condition. Once approved, patients can only get the medication from the Korea Orphan and Essential Drug Center, or KOEDC. One bottle of Epidiolex costs 1,600,000 Korean won, or about 1,860 Singapore dollars. Dr. Jenny Huang's 6-year-old son, Ian, is diagnosed with Lennox-Gastaut syndrome.
Lennox-Gastaut syndrome shows delay in cognitive functions, so it's very hard for him to learn basic skills like feeding himself, or speaking, or walking, or crawling. He specifically losing muscle strength, and he started to hit his forehead on the table, and he was just staring. It's called the absent seizure. It was like end of our path. We thought very depressed.
She hit the headlines in South Korea in 2018 after she was caught by the South Korean police for importing CBD oil to treat her son. Her story of how she and her husband struggled to find treatment for her son moved the South Korean public.
Before that, he didn't make eye contacts. He was not alert. We didn't know where he was looking at. He didn't have any motivation or any expressions. But after CBD oil, he started to make eye contacts. I knew that he was looking at me. I knew where he was looking at. And he started to make more noise. Also, we could tell he was not happy, or he was frustrated, or something he didn't want to do anymore. He expressed himself. There were more times he laughed. Like specific hope, maybe he can eat, or walk, or just learn very basic functions to take care of himself.
Thailand moved to legalize medical cannabis in December 2018.
คือการใช้ประโยชน์ในกัญชาทางการแพทย์เนี่ยประเด็นสำคัญคือต้องได้รับอนุญาตไม่ว่ากลไกนั้นที่จะทำหน้าที่ในเรื่องการขอปลูกนะครับสกัดสารสกัดจากกัญชาการขอใช้ประโยชน์ต้องเป็นหน่วยงานรัฐเท่านั้นหน่วยงานเอกชนคนทั่วไปไม่สามารถที่จะขอได้นะครับผมเรียนย้ำว่ากัญชาในประเทศไทยยังเป็นยาเสพติดฉะนั้นใครก็ตามที่เสพใครก็ตามที่ครอบครองนะครับใครก็ตามที่จำหน่ายเป็นการกระทำที่ผิดกฎหมายนะครับในขณะนี้มีโทษทางอาญา
Traditionally, the Thais have used cannabis as a pain and fatigue relief agent, as well as a condiment in traditional cooking. Despite its illegal status, there is still demand for the plant in Thailand. Some here are growing it and using it in secret either for their own use or to sell it illegally, like this farmer and his illegal grower who both live outside of Bangkok. The farmer makes a tea out of the cannabis that he grows and drinks it every day. He claims that drinking cannabis tea helped to treat his liver cancer. The grower, meanwhile, sells his cannabis because he has seen a demand on the black market for medical cannabis.
Every people have right to choose what good for them health, right? Cannabis maybe cannot heal you from cancer, but it makes you have the better life. After chemo, you can eat, you can sleep tight, and then you have a hope to live.
While Singapore is renowned for its hardline stance towards drugs, it is not blind to the potential benefits that can come with CBD.
There is some published research derived from controlled clinical trials on the potential therapeutic uses of cannabinoids to manage seizures and epilepsy. Such cannabinoid pharmaceuticals need to undergo rigorous scientific review by the Health Sciences Authority before they can be registered for supply in Singapore.
Singapore's National Research Foundation is doing research on cannabinoids. They hope to be able to identify the cannabinoid genes that can support the sustainable production of medicinal cannabinoids without the need to grow the plant.
Our point of the program is to be able to discover the other 100 cannabinoids within the plant itself, and also to be able to have a way to make sustainably, more and amounts and purer amounts of these other cannabinoids that would have a therapeutic value for the human body. There are a lot of human diseases that still need better, efficient treatment, and so the whole point of this program is to figure out whether we can come up with better, sustainable therapeutics to address a variety of these diseases that are confronting humanity right now.
In an email reply to the Straits Times, the Ministry of Home Affairs confirmed that a young girl in Singapore has received approval to use a cannabinoid medication. The girl suffers from drug-resistant epilepsy and has failed to respond to therapies. MHA added that she has exhausted all currently registered medications for treatment. To date, the unnamed girl is the only person whose circumstances have warranted an allowance in Singapore's stance on cannabinoids. Singapore still maintains a zero-tolerance policy on illicit drugs, which includes cannabis.
Our drug control policies are underpinned by evidence and research. Singapore must continue to keep our country drug-free to prevent harm to our population and society. Cannabis is clearly addictive and harmful, and there is no scientific evidence of the safety and efficacy of raw cannabis use. This supports our position that cannabis should remain an illicit drug. At the same time, we will continue to allow safe and controlled access to evidence-based medical treatment options.